Now, for our final guest of the night, it's 11:58. So thank you guys for sticking with us. We got this last guest. We got one more guest, and then we're all going to get some sleep because we got work and stuff to do tomorrow. But this is a super important person. This is a person I met a little over a year and a half ago, and she and I participate in a mastermind group. If you've never heard of a mastermind group, it's just kind of like, in lack of a better terms, you get a lot of people who have goals together in a group, and you guys talk about your goals and you help hold each other accountable. You help share contacts. You help kind of figure out a way to whatever your goal is, how do you actually accomplish that goal? Because it's one thing to say you have a goal, but how in the heck do you actually do it? So I have been lucky enough to have known her over the course of the time that she has developed her show, One Nation, One Mission, One Promise. I got to see the last iteration of it. It has recently run in New York City, and I'm so glad to have her on here because producing theater is ridiculously hard. When you go to see a play or you go to see a musical, what you have seen in front of you is the culmination of we're talking hours, months, days, years of hard work, lots of asking people for things that you don't have because you need them, lots of figuring out logistics, and I have been a part of sharing in Victoria setting these goals and knocking every single goal down this entire time, and I'm so thankful to have her here. So we'd like to welcome to the show Victoria Medina, writer, producer, director of the show One Nation, One Mission, One Promise in New York City. Victoria, you are on. Let everybody know who you are, where you from, and all your details.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Oh yeah, we're good. You just go. I got you all locked. All the cords are locked up. You are live and ready to roll.
Oh, fantastic. What a wonderful, thank you. It's so thrilling to be on your show. And I want to echo your last guest. You are so crazy talented. It is such a joy to be here with you, to be able to talk to you. I've been listening to your other guests, really some interesting conversation going on.
Yeah.
So, things are crazy. So it's been an interesting journey, and I'm so thrilled that you've been a part of it with me and incredibly supportive.
Yeah. So tell everyone what is One Nation, One Mission, One Promise about?
One Nation, One Mission, One Promise is an American story, and it incorporates all the wonderful people from the beginning of America to present time who lend their voices for all of us to have a better quality of life.
Yeah.
So, for example, we'll feature somebody like Deborah Sampson, who before anybody even thought about it, she was dressing up as a man and fighting in the Revolutionary War because she understood about freedom.
Yeah.
And she had an expectation that after the war, it was going to help her to be free. One of my favorite moments is actually also, we have several characters, but there's an interesting thing that I think about is Abigail Adams wrote to Thomas Jefferson a very famous letter that a lot of people know called, Remember the Ladies. And telling Thomas Jefferson, basically don't put everything in the hands of the husband. She wrote this 4 months. Actually, she didn't write it to Thomas Jefferson. She wrote it to her husband, John Adams, who, of course, knew Thomas Jefferson, as we all know. And what happened was it was 4 months before the signing of the Declaration of Independence. And, of course, look how many, hundreds of years, and now we have #MeToo.
Yeah.
And after, Elizabeth, and after Abigail Adams, of course, there was Elizabeth Cady Stanton, who we feature in the play, who opened up and started the whole cause for women to go out and get the vote and change many laws because women were considered, do you believe this? Women were considered legally dead.
Wow.
In the eyes of the law
What?
when they got married.
Dang, I didn't know that.
Right? Is that not crazy?
That's crazy. America, crazy.
Crazy. And that was in 1848.
Yeah.
And she fought really hard for not only for women to get the vote, along with Susan B. Anthony and Alice Stokes Bull and thousands of other women, but she was the one who worked with other wonderful women of her peers to start the first women's rights convention. And she was instrumental in getting a lot of laws changed. But when you think about it, that's in 1848, and then women were still considered property all the way up until the 1960s.
Right.
So that's crazy.
Mm-hmm.
So there's just so much to celebrate by the inspiration of so many people who have come before us, because, in addition to Elizabeth Cady Stanton, we have Frederick von Steuben, who was the father of the military, who was also homosexual. And now we're still fighting this issue even today. And he did a great job in helping to train the Continental Army under George Washington. And we try, what the play does is celebrate Harriet Tubman and so many people, Crispus Attucks, so many people who lend their voice, lend their lives, so that we could have a better quality of life. And through that, instead of being myopic about what we cannot do, I think it inspires people to recognize that what we can do, and that it's been a journey. And there's a lot to be done, let's face it, but there's a lot that we have done to celebrate. So that's really the essence of the play, is to celebrate, to be inspired, to recognize that you have a voice, big or small, that you can share it in any way that you want. I was with the producer of Dear Evan Hansen, and she was showing this virtual choir, which was really beautiful. And I started thinking of the idea, it's okay to be a voice in 1,000 as well as the voice that is single. But to have a voice and to use it, and to not be afraid of saying the things that you love, and honoring what you love, and bringing as many people to a better quality of life as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. Wow, that's powerful. I mean, in this day and age as well, I mean, we have so much more access to the ability to share our voice as well, which is also a beautiful thing. Something, I oftentimes will talk of the negative consequences of technology only because I am that way. But the fact of the matter is, the positive aspects of technology are that it does create a sphere and a world in which we have easier access with which to share who we are.
Absolutely. And to also recognize, I think the other beauty of it is that we touch humanity on such a global level that it's insane to think any one group of people is better or different or superior to another, because it's interesting when I'll speak to somebody who'll share with me, oh yeah, I'm working with this graphic artist. I was like, oh yeah, I'd love to find out who you're working with, who you recommend. Because yeah, he's in Pakistan, and it's so cool. We work globally. It's really cool. Or someone's working with somebody else out in California, or someone's working with somebody else in another part of the world. I mean, it's just really beautiful to show how many different ways that we could connect and help each other and work with each other and learn from each other. And that's one of the beauties about the internet, is that it makes our common humanity, we see where we connect, and we see where we could learn, and we could see where we could grow. It's really exciting.
Yeah. All right, so I went to see the show, and the cool part about the show is that it ties Victoria has gone through history and found these quotes and these themes of all of our, all of the names, the multitudes of people who have built the foundation of America. We're talking John Adams, we're talking Elizabeth Cady Stanton, all the names that she brought. And then what she does is ties all of the old quotes, all of the old thought processes, and ties them into the names and the people today. So you'll have a quote from, Frederick Douglass, and the next you'll have a quote from JFK, and the next you'll have a quote from Mahala. And then she'll go back and she'll do a quote, from George Washington, then tie that into a quote from Elizabeth Cady Stanton, and then into John Stewart. And it's just like I said when we were talking to Dr. Dodson, is that it's phenomenal in this crazy experiment of America, how we have brought all these people from all these different places. And even though in practice, sometimes we didn't do a great job. You know, the Emancipation Proclamation is written and given out. In practice, we didn't quite get that right. But it is funny how no matter what, as we're coming up with our philosophies, all of those philosophies end up being pretty universal. And you can share someone who was revolutionary in 1700, 1800, 1900, 2000. You can see that those revolutionary voices are all fighting pretty much for the same kind of ideals. And the cool part about her show, in a world right now where a lot of the information that we receive is doomsday information, and information that is telling us that we're being separated, that her show is actually a show that's celebrating the hope of all of this. Yeah, but at the same time, we've always been in some form of revolution, and somehow we have still persevered because our people, you know, the mindset of the people is always based in this philosophy that these people have brought. So speaking to that, how did you decide what voices to share, what quotes to use, how you manipulated the way those quotes flow in and out of each other? How did you do that?
Oh, you know, that's really an interesting question. I wanted to celebrate the Charters of Freedom.
Yeah. Because
within the Charters of Freedom, the Declaration of Independence, this is interesting. I spoke to a producer from Oprah, and I said to her, yeah, I was talking to her about the book, which the play is based on. And I said, yeah, the book celebrates the Charters of Freedom. And she literally said to me, this is an educated woman, producer of Oprah. She literally said to me, what are the Charters of Freedom?
Mm-hmm. Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
And I was like, okay. And so from that moment on, I always share it's the Declaration of Independence,
mm-hmm.
the Constitution, and the Bill of Rights.
Yeah.
And within that, I mean, these are three really beautiful documents.
Mm-hmm.
And when you start, so I started with the three documents, and I thought, well, who can I find that connects with the theme of these three documents?
Yeah.
And so that's when I started looking at different quotes and started reading about who would say something really special that would connect with, you know, let's say freedom of speech.
Mm-hmm.
So you would have somebody like, you have someone like we feature Martin Luther King.
Yeah.
So you have someone, you know, talked about how he's got so much to say.
Mm-hmm. And
that in of itself is a celebration of freedom of speech, because in some places you may have a lot to say, but you may not have the freedom to say it.
Right.
So then I started thinking about Martin Luther King, and then I would look at, who's somebody who could relate to him today? So then I started thinking, I saw something that Jon Stewart talked about, where he talks about how wonderful this democracy is,
mm-hmm.
but there are a number of people who take it for granted, mm-hmm. and how we cannot take it for granted. And then you connect them to a quote by George Bernard Shaw,
yeah.
who will talk about wanting to look at the impossibilities and seeing them as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So what I tried to do was to find quotes that was, I love leaping time in the play.
Yeah.
And to find quotes that were from the past, where you have Frederick Douglass literally saying, I don't see a race problem.
Yeah.
Like, whoa. And every time somebody hears that in the play, it's like, what?
What? Yeah.
But it's coming from Frederick Douglass.
Yeah.
And then he says, and he's right, the problem isn't a race problem. The problem is whether or not this country is going to live up to the ideals
yes.
of the Constitution, Declaration of Independence, and the Bill of Rights. And that instead of separating us, if we live up to those ideals, there is no race problem.
Right.
And so that's a very powerful quote. And then connecting him with someone like Ellen DeGeneres, who will say, well, that's what my values are. My values are respecting people. My family values are respecting people, uplifting people, mm-hmm. celebrating people. Those are her values. So that connects to what Frederick Douglass is talking about.
Yeah.
And so that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to find quotes that were valuable, that would give information, that would introduce people to historical figures that they may not have heard of.
Yeah.
Especially historical figures of different genders, different cultures, different skin tones, different religions. So we have someone like Ham Solomon, who is of Jewish descent, and frankly, if it wasn't, and he was a financer, and he's considered a financial hero. He's similar to how we look at Warren Buffett today.
Right.
But what made Ham Solomon so important is that he raised the money to fund the Continental Army. And if he didn't raise the money, the Continental Army wouldn't have been funded, and we wouldn't have had an army to fight the Revolutionary War.
Right. Wow.
So then to connect him to somebody else who's talking about, like Patsy Mink or Harvey Bilk, who will talk about how we have to, he talks about raising the money that will help with freedom, because you can take finances and use them in a positive way, and then go into somebody like Patsy or Harvey, who will talk about how you don't need a survey to stop prejudice.
Yeah.
So and so all these people have one common thing. It's the common theme of all humanity. It's to live our best lives and to be free.
Yeah.
And that's across the board.
Yeah. Truly is across the board. So okay, how did the run go to this point?
Excuse me?
How did the run go to this point? Was it really successful?
Oh, what I was really thrilled about are the number of, I got an email from a colleague who said to me that she would hear people leaving the show and talk about how much they loved it.
Nice.
And we would have comment cards and just people telling us how it really meant something to them, and they were really thrilled with how the text weaved all these different periods of time, and that it incorporated understanding our.
Hello? Uh-oh. Hello?
From the audience was really beautiful. I have one right here that basically says, the show was amazing, inspirational, and very informative. Great actors. The actors were through the roof.
Nice.
So, I mean, the cast was just extraordinary, and it included Odysseus Baylor, James Cougar Canfield, Kelsey Leah Jones, Jeff McKinnon, Emily Pla, Emma Ramasco, Dana Sherlock, and Samantha Talbot, and they were just the most extraordinary ensemble you would ever have the joy of working with.
Yes.
And they would hit it out of the park. I mean, every night. For example, I loved how Emily portrayed Isabel Gonzalez. And Isabel Gonzalez was a very important figure because she came to the United, she was born in Puerto Rico at the time when America took over Puerto Rico after the Spanish-American War.
Yeah. Came
to the mainland to meet with her fiance to get married, and was told that she couldn't stay on the mainland because Puerto Ricans were not, even though the United States overtook Puerto Rico, the citizens of Puerto Rico were not.
Oh, might be having technical difficulties. We'll see if she comes back. It popped back in last time. She might be in a place where there's like.
And got to realize, and the law was changed.
Yeah.
Where not only were all Puerto Ricans, but everybody from all different territories, including people on the mainland, were given American citizenships and the right under the federal protections that everybody deserved. And here's this wonderful woman who all she was doing is come up to see her fiancé and get married,
right,
and became this amazing advocate. We talk about, Dana plays John Brown, one of the Navajo co-talkers, brilliantly, where here you have these wonderful, this is a really interesting thing. Apparently, First Nations people and First Nations, Native Americans, different tribes are open to using different titles. But my girlfriend, who's of First Nations, has shared with me that First Nations is what she prefers. So First Nations people are actually joined the military because they believe in protecting the land. And so a lot of people in our military are of First Nations people.
Oh, wow.
Which is, I know. And they constantly join because they believe in protecting the homeland, which is really beautiful.
I did not know that.
And during World War II, the Navajo code talkers used their language, their original language, the Navajo language, to create a code that the United States government was able to use to fight the Germans during World War II.
Yep.
And during the Battle of Iwo Jima, they were instrumental in helping us to decode messages and to help us to win that battle and eventually win the war.
Nice. Yeah.
Just extraordinary people like that is what we really wanted to celebrate in the play, and to bring to the forefront that walks of life. So the response was really wonderful because we don't, we have men playing women, women playing men. We have people that are playing different cultures, people playing different accents. And the beauty was that the success of it was how the audience really accepted that and focused on the common theme of the show. It didn't get caught up in, oh, he's playing a man and she's playing, she's playing, he's playing a woman and she's playing a man. They focused on the story. Yeah. And I think because we broke their stereotypes, that I think they listened even more and connected more because everyone in the audience could see themselves on stage.
Right. That was definitely a huge part of the show that I took away as well, is the first 5 minutes of it, it's a little jarring, but the cool part is by the 10th minute, you literally are like, oh, this is the reality that we're in. And then you just settle yourself back and you recognize, no, we're about to tell history as an all of us history, as opposed to this person necessarily has to be black. This person necessarily has to be a woman. No, that the voices are coming through in the way that when I'm performing Lion King, I don't speak the South African languages. I don't speak Zulu. I don't speak Xhosa. I don't speak, these languages. But when I do it and I release my mind of the necessity of feeling like I'm doing anything wrong, what's happening is an ancestor from somewhere long far ago is taking over and is just letting the words come out of me truthfully. And I can say, having been in the audience of your show, that I felt that as well, that the spirit of these people was coming through everyone, and it did not hinder in any way, shape, or form the ability to take away from the show the theme that it's universal, that the American themes are universal. Well, we are...
Yeah.
Go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say, and that was really and I was thrilled how you felt that as well, and that was just really wonderful. And in addition to the success of the show was also, we put on a show, and you can't do anything without having amazing people around you.
Yep.
And one of the things that was really fortunate is having Andrew Beale, who's just amazing, as our musical director, with his uncle, Stephen Beale, as the composer. And the music in the show was just stunning. And in that also elevated the emotion of the stories that people were telling. And how we selected different types of music throughout the piece was such a tribute to their insight into music and what will underscore it. And I was speaking to an audience member who was just sharing with me, it's like, wow, this particular piece of music did this for me, and this particular piece of music did that, because they really felt the music underneath the stories that were being told. And we also had one of the things that was important in this production, which you'll appreciate the next time you see it, is we incorporated choreography and dance.
Nice.
Movement. And we had this wonderful choreographer. His name is Ernest Felton Baker, who you should look at, Kyle. You'll love him. His work is extraordinary. He's also been honored by the Obama administration for his work. Just absolutely brilliant. And he took the character of Soul. He gave her such beautiful movements throughout the piece that also took it to another level, because it wasn't just dance, but it was like taking everyday movement and elevating it to the next level. And then just the costume designer, Lisa Renee Jordan, just being able to incorporate modern and period costumes. It just, all of that together really is what made the show successful, is having all of these different minds, the actors, the creative team, the makeup artist, Jennifer Snowden, all coming together for a common mission to bring these characters to life. And it's so exciting when you're working with amazing people and then you see it realized on the stage. And then Erin Ihill, who was our set and lighting designer, she just did such a wonderful job with that as well. And so it was very, very special. We had a crazy stage manager and crazy talented assistant stage manager, Emily Pearson and Kaylin Hughes. I mean, it was a gift. It was a real gift to work on this show.
I'm glad. I'm again, as I said to Naomi, I can only say, having been a fly on the wall and participating in watching you get it done, I'm proud of the work that you put forward. I can't wait to see the next iteration of it. And tell everyone who's listening, where can they look up more information about the show?
Oh, thanks. If we go to the website, One Nation, One Mission, OnePromise.com, and you can see all the wonderful information from our past 2 productions, our past 3. Oh my God, we've got 3 productions now. Our past 3 productions, and then information about what we're doing in the future. We're now going to be moving into our web series, where we could still keep these characters alive and keep this conversation alive as we move into the development of the next production.
Great.
So that'll be exciting for people to be a part of that with us. So thanks, Kyle, for asking your dream.
Absolutely. Well, One Nation, One Mission, OnePromise.com. We just had a great conversation with Victoria Medina. So keep an eye out for her. Check that if you were interested in all of the show is packed with history. So if you were interested by that topic, definitely check it out, because it's only going to get bigger and better. Trust me, having seen it, I know for a fact. And Andrew Beale, you guys don't know who that is yet, but Andrew Beale is this awesome dude. He wrote a musical, Song of Solomon. He's got a new musical that he's working on, so I ain't going to say anything about that because I don't know what he does and does not want out about that new musical he's working on. But you can check out Song of Solomon as well. And we're just out here sharing love, dropping knowledge, sharing history, and just always remembering that we are all in this battle together. So thank you so much for sharing with us, Victoria.
Thank you, Carl, for having me. Can't wait to be back and to have you on my show.
Yep.
Love you.
That's right. All right. We'll talk to you later, Victoria. Peace.
Peace.
Bye. All right. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Woo! What did we do today? We did 1 hour 30 today. Extra 30 minutes for free. And by free, I'm not getting paid for this anyway, so it's all free. It's all charity anyway. So that's the point of it, is that's what I want to give, because I love doing this so much, and I love connecting people, and I love talking about how we all have the same goals in life and we're all fighting for the same battle. So that being said, we're going to end it off tonight. Let's see, what do I want to end it off with tonight? Let's end it off with, oh yeah, I love Sounds of Blackness. So we're going to end it off with a little Sounds of Blackness. Boom. Go here, click that. And thank you guys so much for listening. Oh, if I'm going to do an episode next week, because I'm going to be knee deep in the NBA rap stuff. But if I do, you guys know I'll be posting about it. And if not, I'll see you 2 weeks from now. So either way, y'all know it's going to get done no matter what.